Georgia opens as a 35-point favorite over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Woo! That is not insignificant, y'all. That is crazy to me that they would be that big a favorite. I just don't even know what to say about it after a while. Woo! That is a 5 touchdown favorite. It actually opened, I think, at 34 some places. Georgia Tech's got an issue. I mean, they cannot continue this with not Jeff Collins, because I think he is borderline coaching for his job. You cannot continue to have, you cannot continue to have your head coach getting his brains beaten in season after season and having a three win year. I mean, look, by the way, I would encourage everyone to sign up for our newsletter. It's down below. Make sure that you're getting on there, signing up. You do not want to miss out on everything that we've got for you. But as you can see, we even have to update the story. This is the third game in a row that the Dogs have been at least a 35-point favorite over their opponent at the end of the year here. So I think it's it's the second game in a row that they've been on there. I mean, it's just nuts that Tech and Georgia, look, Georgia should be better than Tech. We know that, all right? I mean, Tech people understand that. It's not really anything that's shocking to say, but they shouldn't be a 5 touchdown favorite in Atlanta, no less, which is going to be Athens pretty much anyway. But you can't. It's mind-boggling that they're this big of. If they were an 18-point favorite in Atlanta, nobody would give Tech a chance. If they were a 28-point favorite, nobody would give Tech a chance. They are a 35-point dog to the Dogs on their home floor. I think this is going to be the first time that Georgia has more fans at the game than Tech. The AJC had an article earlier this week about how this is the worst Tech attendance in almost 3 decades, a little bit longer than 3 decades. It was since the 1989 season. That's if the Georgia game's a sellout. So they're depending on Georgia fans to get to 51,000. They've been bringing around 34 to 35,000 people a game. So we already know that 16,000 right off the bat. See how I did my math there? DeKalb County Schools. That's going to be nothing but Georgia fans. Nevertheless, the fact that all the 34,000 other ones would assuming they'd all be in gold and yellow, they're not gonna be. I mean, the other team gets an allotment from Tech to begin with. So look, I just this is going to be the first time to me that Georgia will have the more fans than the opposition team in Atlanta. We see this at Vanderbilt. 3 times a decade. This is going to be, I think, the first time that happens, and it's just going to be a celebration of Georgia. And Tech is going to look around and say, "We got it. Cannot continue." I have family members that went to Tech, and they just have zero interest in going to games right now because there's no passion at Tech. Now, it's asking a lot to cover a 5 touchdown spread. That's a significant number. I mean, the Charleston game was 52 points or whatever it was, and they didn't cover that because of a freak play. So it's asking a lot to cover a line that big. But I don't think Georgia Tech can stop the Dogs, period. So this is just going to be how many points can Georgia score. I mean, 2 years ago when they actually played this game, that game couldn't have been more lopsided, and Georgia did not play well. They did not play well in that game in 2019, and they still crushed the Jackets. It was Jake Fromm was not playing well at the time, and they still won that game 52-7. I mean, what is going on in Atlanta that the Jackets are this bad and have been this bad for this long? Georgia was only had a 10-point lead going into the half, and then they ripped off 35 straight points. So, you know, I just, this Tech team is bad. It's not working with Jeff, not Jeff. And I'm not, you got to fire everybody guy. I think, I hope people understand that about me. But these guys are just coming off a 55-point loss where they didn't score at Notre Dame, a team that's not as good as Georgia. And it's just not there. So I don't know how long you can keep going on with this. I think if Tech were to chop Jeff, not Jeff, in the future, I mean, in the near future on Sunday, that'd be fine. I don't think this is a great year to fire people. We've gotten to the point. So I'm not sure if I would fire Jeff, not Jeff. Okay, but I probably would just see if there's something out there. Now, listen, the one guy I would go after if I were Tech, and if he's you know paying attention or has any interest in any way, is the guy at Coastal. That's it though, because you could land him if you fire Jeff, not Jeff. And I don't think that they'll fire Jeff, not Jeff, but they might. So you just the Jackets are scoring. When you look at it, like they scored. Now, let's just talk about real games here. Only 8 against Clemson, which is no crime. 45 against Carolina, 21 against Pitt, 31 against Duke, 40 against Virginia, and then 17 against Virginia Tech. Not great. And then they lost a tough one to Miami, scoring 30. Then they scored 30 and lost to Boston College. They didn't score last week at all, so they probably will not score against Georgia. They certainly won't score 10. I would be shocked if they scored more than 10 points against Georgia. But it's not working. And this is what happens when you see a program that's ranked number one against a team that's just not anywhere hitting their stride in any way. And that's what the Jackets are right now. They are not ready for what Georgia's going to give them this weekend in Atlanta. I almost called it Athens. I do think that, again, as I say, there will be more Georgia people there for the first time that I can remember. Uh, Period. I don't think there's ever been a time in history where Georgia's had more people at Tech, because I've gone to this game since '93. Uh, every single game except one, which was the um, 2001 game in Atlanta. I had to go to a wedding. That marriage ended in divorce. But anyway, I've been to every single Tech Georgia game since 1993, with that exception. I was there when Ray Goff and them scored on the 2-point conversion, had a massive fight. I was there in 1999 when the fumble occurred. I've been there, and Tech has always had more people at the game. They've not beaten Georgia this century in Atlanta. I think they're more comfortable playing in Athens, to be honest. But this is going to be the time where there's going to be more red. And you have to ask yourself, if you're Tech, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for us as an athletic department? That Georgia's got it rolling, and that's what. Yeah, no, Georgia's been in this position. This is not completely abnormal for them to have a really good football team. Okay, what does it say about your athletic department that you can't sell tickets, and that's your arch rival? Everything that you are, they are not. Everything that you base your athletic department on, pretty much, is predicated on if you beat Georgia or not that season. And don't act like it's not, because that's what y'all do. It's in your fight song. So, what does it say that you won't have as many fans as there are Georgia fans? There's a lot of work that's got to be done at Georgia Tech right now. And I don't know if Jeff, not Jeff, is the right person to handle that. If you make a change, that will give you hope. But people don't believe in this guy anymore. They don't. They've seen enough. 30 something games is a lot, and it's not working. And no matter how much he doesn't want red in the building, no matter how much the shtick with Waffle House, no matter how much the 404 culture. Some of us grew up 404. We don't. I mean, it's fake, but you got to win, and you got to be competitive with Georgia. Paul Johnson beat Georgia. more than once. So he didn't have a great run against Georgia, but he had a better run than a lot of other people. And Chan Gailey was let go. Paul Johnson was kind of pushed out the door. George O'Leary had it figured out and then left to go to Notre Dame and was not hired there because of some stuff that I don't know what that whole thing was. Okay, I'm not going to speculate on it. I don't want to remember it wrong, but it's not working, and that's why Georgia is a 5-touchdown favorite over the Jackets. Woo! We'll see you in Atlanta. Go to dogpost.com.